Hi everyone, my name is Akurede Adenike. If you are new on this channel, you are highly welcome. If you are my old subscribers, I really appreciate you for coming back to my channel. Thank you so much for your support always. Today's tutorial shall be the sewing part of my bandless A-line skirt, which I've already made a video on how to draft it. I'm going to put the link in the box below for you guys to see. So I'm going to cut my front unfold. So the back too, I'm going to cut 2 pieces of the back. Here is the fabric I'm using for the tutorial today. Is one of the African print Ankara fabric, and here is the matching lining for it. So I will quickly go ahead and cut my pattern on my fabric for you guys to see. Now I'm done cutting my lining and my fabric out, so let me remove my paper for me to explain to you. So I added 1.5 inches for my seam allowance on the side. I added ½ inch on the waistline, and I added 1 inch for my hemming allowance. So I cut both fabric and the lining unfold. And my lining, this is the front part. My lining is 20 inches from the waistline, 20 inches length from the waistline. So let me show you the back part. Here is my back part. This is the lining for it. My lining for the back too is 20 inches from the waistline, 20 inches length from the waistline. So I have 2 pieces of lining here. So let me put the lining of the back aside, and here is the main fabric. I added 1.5 for my seam allowance on the side. I added ½ inch on the waistline for seam allowance, and I added 1 inch for my hemming allowance at the bottom side here. So I realized I have to add ½ inch to my zipper allowance too, because I added 1 inch on my pattern paper while I was drafting it out. Because of the lining, I have to add ½ inch for it, to make it 1.5 inches. Now I'm going to move on to the sewing aspect of it. Let me start my sewing from the front part. Here is my front part now. I'm going to open it up to the right side. Here's the right side of my fabric. I'm going to place my lining on the right side of the fabric, just like this. If you want, you can make your own lining longer than this. That is your choice. So this is what I want. So I'll go ahead now and stitch on the waistline. I'm going to stitch ½ inch on the waistline, and on the side too, both sides, I'm stitching it with ½ inch from the waist down to where my lining reach. I'm doing the same thing on the second side of these parts too, of the front part. So let me move on to the back part. Now this is my back part. Here's the lining, 2 pieces of lining for it. I'm going to remove one out of the fabric too, but before removing, let me use chalk to mark the wrong side for me not to make silly mistakes. So I'm good to go now. Let me remove one out of it and use one to explain to you. So here's the one part of the back part. I'm going to place my lining like this, place it on it like this, and stitch the waistline with ½ inch, just like this. I'm going to stitch this side too, just like this, till where my lining reach, and here too from the waistline till where my lining reaches too. So I'm going to do the same thing on the second part of the back too. So when I finish all that, I'll come and show you what's next. Now I'm done stitching my lining to the fabric. As you can see, here's my front part. So I'll go ahead and turn to the right side, and here is my back part, which is 2 pieces. So I'm turning this one too to the right side. Now I'm done turning both front and back to the right side. As you can see, this is my front part now, folded into 2. I put it on top the back part. So here's my back part, right side of both back parts, as you can see. So I'm going to place my front like this for me to mark out my zipper allowance. So this is where my zipper will be now. I'll just mark it straight down to the bottom part, just like this. So here is my zipper allowance line now. So after doing that, I'm going to mark out my dart for both front and back. From the center front here, if you watch my video on how to draft it, you will know what I'm doing now. I marked 3.5 inches, which is the half of my nipple to nipple measurement, plus half inch seam allowance, that is 4 inches. It is here now. I'll let it reflect on the other part of the front and the back part too, just to save me from unnecessary stress. So from the waistline here, I'm going to measure down 4 inches. To complete it from the center front, I'm going to measure that 4 inches that I measured on my waistline to meet the point. So after marking 4 inches straight down from my waistline, on my waistline I'm going to measure ½ inch on both sides for me to stitch my darts. So I'm going to repeat it on all the parts that need dart. So I'll let it reflect here on the other side of the front, let it reflect on both back pieces, and make sure I connect it like this for me to stitch it. So I'll let it reflect on the second part of the front, on the back too, and the second part of the back, just to save me from unnecessary stress. So I'll go ahead now. Here's the front part. So I'll go ahead now and stitch. This is my front part. I'll go ahead and hold it like this. I'm going to hold it like this and stitch with ½ inch from my waistline here, slantly to meet that 4 inches downward here. I'm doing the same thing on the second part of it. I'll just hold it like this and stitch with ½ inch from the waistline. I'm doing the same thing on the both part of the back. So for me to stitch my zipper side, my zipper line here from the waistline, I'll just measure 9 inches. So I'm going to stitch from here till the down part of my skirt. From here now, I'm going to stitch on this line till the down part of my skirt. So when I finish with all that, I'll come and show you what's next. Now I'm done with the dart on both front and back. This is my front part. As you can see, I've stitched the dart for it. Here's the right side of it, and this is my back part. I'm done stitching the dart as well. Where is it? And I've stitched my zipper side from here, from 1 inch below the hip till the bottom of it, as you can see. So this opening is for my zipper allowance, is for my zipper. So I'll go ahead and fix my zipper to it now. So here's the right side of it. I'm going to fix my zipper here now. So when I finish fixing my zipper, I'll come and show you what's next. This is how I'm going to fix my zipper. I'll just open it like this and place it like this upside down. If you are a beginner, please make sure you measure that 1 inch for your zipper allowance before you place your zipper on it. I'm going to fix it in like this. On this side, it should be like this. When I finish stitching this side, I'm going to close my zipper up and place it on this, on the second side like this, and stitch till I reach the waistline. So let me quickly go and fix my zipper. I'll come and show you what's next. I'm done fixing my zipper. As you can see, here's the right side of it, and here is the wrong side of it. This is how it looks like. If you like, you can cut this place off and use lighter to knit it up at the bottom here. So to get rid of the excess here, make sure you open it up like this and fix this one in, the excess, fix it in like this. Fold it back and top stitch. Do the same thing here. Open it up like this, fix it in, and fold it, top stitch on it. That is how it's going to be. After doing that, I'm going to place my front on the back, mark my side seam allowance out, and stitch from the waist down to the bottom. I'm going to do the same thing on the second part of it. Stitch my side seam from the waist to the bottom of my skirt, as you can see. So when I finish doing that, I'm going to hem the bottom with 1 inch that I added for hemming allowance, and give it a good press, put it on for you guys to see how the finishing look like. So guys, here is how the finishing look like. If my tutorial has been helpful to you, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel to support my channel. If you have any question pertaining to cutting and sewing, you can join me on my Facebook group, Details to Sewing, created by Akorede Adenike. I'm on Twitter and Instagram at Akorede Adenike. Please show some love by liking and following my page on Facebook at Akorede Adenike Sewing Tutorial. Till I see you in my next video guys, stay safe, stay blessed, bye bye.